Recording live from Glory Hole Studios in Chicago and beyond. This is Cognitive Dissonance. Every episode we blast anyone who gets in our way. We bring critical thinking, skepticism, and irreverence to any topic that makes the news, makes it big, or makes us mad. It's skeptical, it's political, and there is no welcome mat. Today is Thursday, August the 28th. What's going on? See, as of today, I don't know, it's about, what time is it? About noonish, give or take? Yeah, it's about noon. There are no National Guard troops yet in Chicago. So that's a plus.
By when this releases, who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
That's what I'm saying. By noon, I mean by 5 o'clock, who fucking knows?
Yeah, right.
You know, fucking fingers crossed that martial law will not extend out of the DC province.
I think somebody commented on one of our shows this week and said, how is it that not everybody in the United States is protesting against this? And I would say, well, half the United States loves it.
Yeah.
Like half the United States is down. They're totally down with people sending people to sending National Guard troops out into the world. They're fine with it.
Do you remember like when FEMA was trying to help people who were like impoverished and had their homes destroyed by natural disasters, specifically Hurricane Katrina? And there was this big right-wing backlash that, oh my God, FEMA is this big government control society.
FEMA camps, yeah.
FEMA camps. Well, we're going to put everybody in a FEMA camp. Oh, they're going to, and it was this like big, oh my God, we have to be afraid of the way that like big government is going to create these concentration camp-esque kind of environments for people. When I look at what's happening now, and I think of things like the alligator Alcatraz nightmare, when I think of the undeclared but actual de facto martial law being forced down the throats of Americans, the patrolling of American cities with our own troops, the mobilization of our military against ourselves. And I think that's your FEMA camps, man. Yeah. The difference is like when it was Hurricane Katrina, what they were doing is saying, can we just not help people of color? We're spending our money helping people of color, and we don't want to do that. So let's instead make this a principle that it never was. Because now those same people who were screaming about the FEMA camps that didn't exist, they were just trying to help people of color get back on their feet and provide them a place that's safe to live. Those same motherfuckers are like, yeah, you've got to send the American military against Americans. I mean, obviously, because they're not real Americans, because we think that they're probably black.
Do you remember Jade Helm?
I do remember Jade Helm, man.
They were upset and worried about American troops on soil practicing maneuvers. They were saying the very next thing that's going to happen is they're going to take over cities. Dude, they're going to take over part of Texas.
Where's all the right-wingers that were freaking out about Waco and freaking out about Ruby Ridge? And I want to say, rightfully so. I am on your side with that, actually. I mean, I don't think we should blow up a federal building in response to it. That's fucking insane. But I think there were real problems with the militarized federal response to what were ultimately pretty low-level criminal issues. Yeah. Right? So, like, I do believe that that's worth being worried about. Like, I think being worried about the militarization of the federal government against its citizens is something that, as a democracy, we need to say, hey, let's always be wary of that. Let's always be wary of tanks on American streets. Yeah. That's Tiananmen Square shit. Yeah. We don't need that here. But those same people, those same motherfuckers are punching the ticket for this fuck.
And I think that when you bring up Waco and you bring up Ruby Ridge, I think it's also really important to bring up race, because if all those things were black, no one would give a fuck.
It's exactly true.
It's the same thing now, where they're going to put what they see as cities with a large black population. Mm-hmm. They're going to send black or brown, right? It doesn't matter. I'm not saying like necessarily black. I'm saying like people of color. It doesn't matter what person of color it is. They will send this group of people, National Guard troops, to these places, and they will do it. And the rest of the world will, the rest of our country that is down for it is like, fine, that's fine. Those people of color need to be watched. Yeah. They need to be patrolled. They need to be intimidated. They need to be told what they should and shouldn't be doing. And make no mistake, the reason why this is happening, the reason why Trump is doing this, I'm not sure it's necessarily to become a dictator. I'm not sure it's necessarily to grab power. It is 100% vindictive against the people who protested there. What Trump is doing when he came in is he said, I can do what I want, because he got told that by the Supreme Court. So he's been told, I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Doesn't matter.
So what he's going to do is he's going to punish, of course, all the people who he thinks wronged him. But that just doesn't stop at the higher ups. That stops at everybody. So that means that if you were out here in Chicago holding up a sign in front of Trump Tower, he sees that and says, I want to hurt those people.
Right.
I want to do what I can to hurt those people. I will intimidate all those people, as many of those people as I can. And he got away with it in DC, right? He's not been kicked out of DC yet. He's been doing it. We got a couple stories about it on this week's show. He's not been kicked out yet. So what's going to happen is he's going to do it in other places until he finally gets told no.
Well, and I think a couple of things, and I'll tell you my personal conspiracy theory in a second, but I think one thing that I've been thinking about that's super important is that there are no constraints on Trump's power until someone constrains him. Yeah. So there's a lot of people out there being like, oh, well, they can't do this, they can't do that, this would be against the law, they can only use the troops this way or that way. That's not true if nobody says stop. Nobody is saying stop. We know that he has no personal culpability or responsibility legally, because the Supreme Court said, whatever you do, you can't be prosecuted for. That's fucking locked in, right? He's got full immunity for anything he does on a personal level. So then the only thing that would really prevent him from doing whatever he wants is, will somebody stop him? And there's really nobody watching the Watchmen now. So are there legal constraints on his power? Yeah, technically there's a lot of them. But if there's nobody actually saying no and then stopping it, then there's no actual constraint. Yeah. We are running up against this nexus between what is technically true and what is actually true. And the difference, the problem is that what's actually true has always mattered more. Yeah. So there's a ton of people who are saying, oh, well, he's going to be constrained with regard to using the National Guard because unlike DC and these other states, he doesn't have the authority. I don't know that matters, whether he has the technical authority, because if nobody stops him, then he has the authority. And here's my conspiracy theory that I just fucking made up the other day in my head. And it's fucking nonsense. But I do wonder strongly if this is a test run, all this can I mobilize the National Guard in Chicago? If I can mobilize it in Chicago, I can mobilize it in LA. If I can mobilize it in LA, I can mobilize it in Atlanta. If I can mobilize it in Atlanta, I can mobilize it here and here and here. There's that is a domino effect, right? I think this is a test run for him to mobilize federal forces in 2026 to quote unquote guard the safety of our elections. And what I really think that means is to take over the elections, to make sure that we create a pattern of, and we're going to talk about this, real physical intimidation to suppress votes in specific areas. I also think that it's very clear that he's hunting around at a federal level where he has no authority to try to interfere with the way that elections are run, the technologies that are being used, et cetera. I do think that this is a test run for him to use the American military to control the election outcome.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think we talked about that before. Yeah. I talked about him using it to intimidate people. I also want to caution people who are wondering if, people will refuse to do things. I know that there's some people think that the stopgap there's many different stopgaps. And one of them happens to be, the courts that we have and whether or not those people will come in. And then our Congress, what can they do to stop him? And, different types of administrators that are involved in the system, can they stop him? And one of those things are the people who are actually acting on those orders, the things that he suggests. So I would caution you to not think that those people will do the right thing. Specifically the police officers. I don't know about the National Guard people. National Guard people, it's a kind of a wide swath. But I will say almost certainly with the police officers, people don't get into that job not thinking that authority is good, right? Those people don't get into those positions and become those officers of the law if they don't think that authority should be respected. Right. So they will, I would say more often than not, follow those rules to a T. I'm sure that there'll be outliers. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be outliers, of course. but those people are going to be few and far between, and they won't stop that snowball.
Yeah, and I've heard the argument made, and I think it's a very good faith argument. I've heard the argument made that if you're in the military, you swear an oath to the Constitution to protect America basically against, all threats, foreign and domestic, and that individual soldiers, if they're given an unlawful order, have a absolute right to disobey an unlawful order, right? That is the problem, I think. I think that we're running into the problem between what's legally true and what's actually true, because that's only actually true if after disobeying that order, the system helps you and doesn't throw you in jail.
Right.
If the system says, yeah, we disagree that was an unlawful order and is going to throw you in jail, and if your commanding officer doesn't back you up, and if his officer doesn't back him up, and because you go up the food chain, where does it end? It go who's
at the top?
Commander in chief.
Who's at the top?
It's fucking Trump. And Trump has fired everybody who doesn't pass his loyalty tests at the fucking next level of business, right? So although it's technically true that at the ground level, an individual soldier being given an unlawful order has an absolute right to reject and responsibility to reject that order, it's not actually true if all the systems that are supposed to protect his ability to do that and be safe personally don't exist anymore.
Right.
So I am less certain that if given an unlawful order, that most of those troops will disobey that order. And not because they won't want to, but because their lives are on the line. Their safety, their freedom, their livelihood, their ability to protect and feed their families, all that's on the line for these people. Mm-hmm. That's too big an ask. I think that's a really unfair ask for some 20-year-old kid.
Absolutely.
Big news, bitches! The ban's been lifted and we are back in Flipadelphia. Here we come. Flipadelphia, Flipadelphia. Yeah!
This story's from The Hill. Democrats flip Iowa State Senate seat, breaking GOP supermajority. This is great news.
It's great news. Admittedly, Iowa has 33 Republican senators and 13 of the Democrats, but it's enough where they can't just have whatever they want to have happen.
Right.
They can't be that kid from Twilight Zone that wishes people into the fucking cornfield or whatever.
Right.
There's some way to stop them now. But the other thing that's really great news is that this was a seat that flipped from a lot of points. There was a lot of points leading towards the Trump person before, and they died of cancer. I think it was. They had a cancer diagnosis and they died. And then they had to have a special election, and the special election flipped the other way. If you can keep fair and free elections in this country, 2026 might be a bloodbath.
It might be. We're at this crazy inflection point in American politics where there's a lot of structural advantages for the Republicans, massive structural advantages for the Republicans. But we're also looking at a suite of policies that really only appeal to these hardcore, hardline right people. The policies that are being enacted right now by the Trump administration are wildly unpopular.
Yeah,
They're wildly unpopular. We should, as Democrats, if we can keep the momentum up, if we can keep the excitement up, if we can say, hey, it's important that we protect ourselves, that's worth showing up for, we should do very well. But we've got to overcome these massive structural disadvantages.
Yeah.
And the Republicans are working as hard as they can to build those advantages into the system for generations.
Yeah, and we're talking about removing voting places to vote. You're talking about removing. You're talking about changing the ways districts work so that you're horning out blue votes as you work your way through. These are real dangerous ways in which these things could happen, and you could wind up. And these are federal things that are happening on
right.
So they could wind up with fewer senators, blue senators from Texas. They already voted on that thing.
Yeah,
they already put that
the gerrymander
vote to and we've seen what's crazy is the courts even returned one of these maps and said you got to do it over, and they're like, yeah, we'll redo it, and then they did it just as bad, and they're like no, you got to do it, and fuck you.
Yeah, that was in South Carolina.
Yeah, so they're fuck you. So we've already seen them disobey the courts in that case. And I think that you're going to see, if it makes it to the Supreme Court, one, I think you've already got some people on that court, some judges on that court that very much want to follow whatever Trump wants. Whatever Trump wants. You know, there's some that owe their spot on him to him, but then there was people already there that love him and want to do whatever he can. I mean, fucking Ginny Thomas.
Oh my God, I know.
I mean, Ginny Thomas might as well be in a throuple with Donald Trump. I mean, at this point, like, it's crazy. So you're in a position now where they're going to do whatever they want, and whatever they want is literally whatever Trump wants.
Yeah, the entire party and all branches of government are right now under a single person's control. We have if you've ever taken a civics class, you were taught that is not only undesirable, but structurally impossible.
Yeah.
Right. And that was one of the things that made America a specifically different kind of and safer and stronger democracy. We were taught that there was a tricameral, system and the checks and balances. And these were taught to us not just as true things, but as good things, as things that protect all of us, that build us, together and prevent us from having tyrants. That's gone now. Like, it's not going away. I want to be clear. It is gone already.
Yeah.
The real question that you should be asking ourselves is, can we get it back?
Yeah. Is there a way to claw any of this back?
Right.
And when you do, I think I'm going to go back to what I said maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, is like, make them eat it. Make them eat it. Make them eat it really bad. Because if you make them eat it, after you're done, if somehow you're able to do a supermarket sweep and get all of it back,
right,
you make them eat it real hard for a couple years, because they will be anxious to change it, because they don't want to have this happen again to them.
Yeah,
they won't. Right now, they've never experienced the hardship of being under this, but once they do, they will recognize how bad it is.
Yeah,
it's got to happen to them, though.
Right? Yeah. And like, that is the only strategy that can work, and that's still so dangerous.
And it's got to happen to them because the empathy chip isn't in the same space. And I want to read something real quick.
Oh, yeah.
This is something I found online. And again, this may or may not be true, right? Because it's a comment. So how do I know it's true, right? Like a person said it and they posted it somewhere, and it might be true, it might not be true, but I want to read it real quick. This was about one of those leopard eat my face type things, right? Mm-hmm. It was a question to Trump supporters. Basically, Trump supporters, hey, Trump supporters, do you regret your vote about what you did? And this was what was written. My father, diehard Republican, voted for Trump twice. This spring, I had a miscarriage that resulted in me in hemorrhaging. I was in the ER with my father, bleeding out, when the ER decided to do a DNC. I woke up from the surgery and he was bawling, thinking I was going to die. He realized that if it wasn't for my state's constitution, I wouldn't have been saved. He changed his whole view on abortion rights. He's now a non-Republican registered voter in a primary red state. So I don't know how true that is, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. It could just be somebody could made that up. But I will say this, that's not an impossible thing to happen. Because what happens is people, I notice this a lot. It's like when a Republican is on welfare, it's because they deserve it.
Yeah, right.
But when someone else is, it's like that's an entitlement. We should take that away. It has to happen to these people. These people have to have it. They got to touch the stove with their whole fucking hand.
Yeah.
And what has to happen at the end of this is somebody's got to take their hand and be like, here, motherfucker, eat it. And then shove their hand on the stove so they know this is bad for everybody.
Yep.
Unitary executive theory is bad for all of us. It's not just bad for one side.
That's right.
It's bad for everyone. And they've got to learn that.
Yeah. If we don't, we will have generationally, we will have accelerating tit for tat politics that is different than what we've had before. Because we have never had before, like, people seem to misunderstand or downplay the severity of the power shift. I know it used to be a power creep. It is it's a total power shift now.
You are absolutely right.
It's different than it has ever been. It's not like it was. It's not. There are so many new laws, rulings, and changes. We could have I'm in charge, I change the whole thing. You're in charge, you change the whole thing. And then you could have a government and an economy that never has stability.
Yeah, it's all a tennis match.
And without stability, you don't have function.
Yeah, it's a bad call for everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, you got time to lean, you got time to clean, buddy, all right? You got to be 150% on your toes 150% of the time. There you go, sir. And have a tune, wiener dude. All righty.
This story is from Huffington Post. Donald Trump's D.C. takeover has National Guard soldiers picking up trash.
It's because they can't do anything.
Yeah.
So they're just like, it's like when you were working at McDonald's, they like look busy.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. They're saying you got to look busy. So now they're just literally. Could you imagine how fucking shitty this would be if you were a National Guard person and you've got to leave your day-to-day life?
Yep.
You've got to pack up everything you're doing because it's supposed to be an emergency to go to fucking DC to pick fucking garbage up.
Yeah, because there's not fucking rampant crime everywhere.
Because there's not that emergency. That emergency's a lie.
It's fake. It's all bullshit. It's all made up. You know, like I will say that there is always a reality to deterrent effects, right? So like, if you have a cop on every corner, which would be absurd, but if you have a cop on every corner, will you have less crime? Yeah, you probably would, right? There's a deterrent effect of visibility for police.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But like, we're solving a problem that was never real in the first place. So it's not like they're going to show up and they're going to drive around in their fucking armored vehicles and occasionally get in fucking car accidents with their fucking armored vehicles, smash people's shit, and they're going to stand around with fucking great big guns. And the Republicans are going to say, look, there's no crime. And it's like, there already was a reduction in crime. This is nothing. There's also no long-term strategy here. That's something that the Republicans don't ever talk about.
Yeah, and nobody asks them a question about it either.
Which is weird to me.
Yeah.
Like, we are not solving, let's say there were a crime problem, right? So now I'm a criminal of some sort. Let's say I have a criminal enterprise, right? So let's say I am part of a drug trafficking organization. And maybe while the National Guard is out, I am curtailing or changing the way that I do business, right? So I'm going to reduce my business for a little while, but I'm going to wait this out. You're not going to have people everywhere forever. So if I'm part of like what really matters about crime in many ways, if I'm part of an organized syndicate or something along these lines, I'm just going to wait this out. You're going to go away.
Yeah.
This
you
might
can't do
prevent
this forever.
Yeah. What is the plan here? There's no plan.
That guy on the corner who's picking up trash, he has a job as like a mailman somewhere.
Right.
Like he has a real job somewhere. Yeah. He does this on the fucking weekends, 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year. That's literally their mantra, man. They don't do this every day. You got to uproot them from their daily fucking life. Do you think they want to stay out in DC for months and months and months, standing there waiting to pick up trash while their fucking regular job is back at home and their family's back at home and their life is back at home?
You know what scares me real bad? This does scare me, is I can see, and God, I hope this doesn't happen, Cecil, but I can see a scenario where National Guard troops are illegally deployed to some major city in America, and they are deployed and somebody takes a shot at these guys. And then the president seizes upon that bad actor as an opportunity for them to not just stand around picking up trash and being a temporary and pointless diversion, but now they can engage in direct military action against their own citizens. Yeah. Right now, we're not there. But part of me is really afraid of the idea that Trump will use this as a way to provoke somebody.
Yeah, for sure.
And then use that provocation as an excuse to do what he really wants to do. And I don't know what that is, but I think it involves guns and bombs and shit. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised
on
if
American people, on a group of American people. There's
happened before.
And Trump would be more than happy to damage, hurt, kill a group of people in this country. He would have no qualms about doing that whatsoever.
There's a line from my favorite poem is a love song of J. Alfred Prufrock. There's nothing to do with this, but there's a line in it that I'll paraphrase it a little bit. It's something along the lines of, do I have the strength to force the moment to its crisis? Huh. And I love that line. That line like takes up space in my head rent free, because I think that Trump is attempting to force the moment to its crisis. I think this is intentional and provocation.
Come on, you son of a bitch. I look at this. Yeah. Gabagool. I look at this. When I look at your deep dish pizza, I don't know whether to eat it or throw a coin in it and make a wish. And if I made a wish, it would be that I wish for some real pizza.
All right, so Huffington Post, Trump suggests people might want a dictator for the second day in a row.
He said it twice. Did you see the tape of him saying it? He says, it's like, oh, maybe they like a dictator. I talked to people he talks about how bad these places are. He says, everybody says that this is, that the Chicago's a hellhole and we need to send people in. And people will say to him while he's there, that's not true. And he'll be like, oh, no, you're wrong. Yeah. You're just wrong.
I mean, according to Condé Nast Traveler, which is one of the largest travel publications in the world, in 2024, for the 8th year in a row, Chicago was named the greatest city in America. For the 8th year in a row, Chicago was named the best city in America.
For the pizza, obviously.
For the pizza. Obviously, yeah. Cecil. Mm-hmm. Chicago is a gorgeous fucking city.
It's a wonderful city.
It is an amazing city.
Wonderful city.
Like, I know this is just a personal anecdote, but like my wife, Haley, is a transplant from New York. She was a big fan of New York City. She fucking loves Chicago over New York all day and twice on Sunday.
It's amazing. It's an amazing place.
It's gorgeous. If you've never been to Chicago, you can't have a bad time. It's a great place. Like any enormous city with like fucking millions and millions of people, there is some crime here. It is mostly fairly localized, but it's not entirely localized. There's a possibility of crime happening.
Absolutely.
In any place that has 4, 5, 6 million human beings living together. It's not an unsafe place, man. And it's a goddamn gorgeous place. He talks about it like it's a fucking Mad Max style hellhole.
And the crazy thing is people believe him.
Yeah.
And
a bunch of people have never fucking left their hometown.
And that's the real key, is that these people that don't know, but they believe what he has to say. One thing that really bothers me is that there is a self-preservation motive by a lot of people that are in this press corps that don't push for really good questions and don't push for definitive answers on this group of people. And that really bothers me, that they don't do it because they know that they might not be asked back, or there might be some real problems. They might never get called on again, et cetera, et cetera. I think that that's another thing that needs to be fixed after this administration goes away. There needs to be something in there that says, like, you have to be responsible to the Fourth Estate. Yeah. You have to be responsible to them. If you're not, then no one, like, you and I can't do anything about it.
Right.
Like, we're not journalists.
Right.
The journalists need that access. And if they're not going to be open with those journalists, or at least answer questions to those journalists, like to hand wave them away, or to call something a stupid question, or to, not answer it, and to in the follow-ups not answer it, that's something that needs to be addressed. There has to be something there that even if somebody does do that in the future, there's still that tape of them pushing them over and over and over again, because now you don't even have that. You don't even have the courageous journalists doing this work, because I think they're so afraid of not only their companies are capitulating and giving billions of dollars to Trump because he's threatened to sue them, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that there needs to be something set in stone that says there is nothing that can touch these people for asking these questions of power.
And the thing is, the thing that we're supposed to be able to rely on to do this is the fucking First Amendment.
Yeah, it's supposed to be able to rely on that.
It's the first one.
Yeah.
It's the big one. Like, it's the thing that is the thing. Like, the First Amendment is supposed to be the thing that protects journalists. But we are in a place now where, like all dictators, right? Like all dictators, one of the most important things for a dictator to do is to seize control of the narrative. Yeah. And the way that you seize control of the narrative is by controlling who tells the story, and specifically who is not allowed to tell the story and who is not allowed to see true things. I was listening to a podcast. I don't remember which one, but it was a news podcast. So I'll tell you, if you want to find this, my morning news podcast, it was either The Daily, The Journal, or Slate, or Vox, or NPR. So it's going to be one of those. Sorry that I don't remember which one. So it might have been Trump's terms on NPR. The reporter was talking about how for these immigration hearings, there are now parts of federal buildings which are open to the public but sealed off from journalists. They are specifically, which this cannot be legal.
Yeah.
This has to be a violation of the First Amendment. This is a new place that we're in, these are public spaces. They are specifically public spaces. Again, remember civics class. Remember when we all sat together in high school and we had a guy or a girl in front of the class tell us these are the things that make America great and different and special and strong. And one of the things was a transparency. The government cannot hide from itself. It cannot hide from its citizens. Now we have immigration and detention hearings that are specifically locked away behind closed doors. That's Banana Republic shit, man. That's what this is.
And you're seeing people dragged from those. And that's you're still able to see it. Right? You're still able to see it online, but you're not able to see it with any context behind it. All you're able to see is that. And so what you get to do then is contend with the comment section to tell you what's happening.
Right.
Instead of an actual person who knows the facts of what just happened. And so now all you have to do is just wait for the Russian disinformation to come in there and be like, oh, this guy was a pedophile or whatever, and that's why they took him out. And there's no way to know those things unless a journalist is doing the work to know those things.
Yep. It's not due process if it's secret.
Yeah.
You can't have secret due process. Yeah. That's inherently not possible.
Yeah.
But think about this too, that if we erode even a little bit, if we allow the erosion of the First Amendment, everything that is built on that is those are the foundational precepts that give you anything relating to freedom and the ability to be a person in the ways that have always felt meaningful here in this country. And if we erode that a little bit, if we allow our rights to become privileges, then they're essentially gone.
Yeah. And then there's a group of people in this country who think that they are still privileged.
Yeah.
And they're not.
They're not.
They don't realize it yet.
Yeah.
They will eventually realize it, but they don't know it yet.
They think they're fucking walking around being like, not it.
They're like, I'm the one in charge. And you're like, oh, no, you don't understand how this works.
Yeah.
He used the fuck out of you.
Yep.
So, I don't know if you've seen the news lately, but there's a war, and also the economy is ebbing and flowing.
This story is from the New Republic. The Trump recession is coming. The president's assault on the independence of the Federal Reserve is only the latest of several reckless economic actions that have put the country on the brink of economic disaster.
Yeah, he's fired or tried to fire a couple of different people that are involved. He's pressuring Powell to do certain things. He's really and all these tariffs are also stacking up. There is a ton of stuff that he's done through his whim without a lot of forethought that is possibly going to be some real bad news for a lot of people in the United States.
Yeah, we should be really concerned. I think we should be really concerned about this. One of the things that is very concerning to me is that one of the strengths of our economic system is that the Federal Reserve has always been divorced from our political machinations, right? So the Federal Reserve, they get appointed, they serve for a period of time, and really you can't do anything about it. The federal government, for the most part, has to leave them alone, and they are not responsible to or responsive to politics. Divorcing our monetary policy and the people who make our monetary policy from our politics is a real strength of our economic system.
Sure.
We are breaking that, actively breaking that.
Yeah.
That is going to erode trust in our economic system. And what that is likely to do is it is likely to tell investors across the world that America is not the safe place it always was to park your money.
Yep.
So for decades and decades and decades and decades, America was seen as the safest place to park your money. So when shit went weird, you bought American bonds. That's what you did. Everybody, when the market was crazy, okay, great. You put your money in American bonds. America was a safe place to park your money. That does a lot of good stuff, right? I don't want to go into all the good stuff, and I would get half of it wrong because I'm not an economist, but there's a lot of good stuff that comes from that. The reason we have like cheap interest rates on lots of stuff in America overall, the reason we have a lot of the things that we have economically is because of that truth, right? That lots of people across the world park their money here because it's safe. It won't be seen as safe anymore if it's tied to the political whims of whoever's in charge.
Yeah.
It will be seen as volatile rather than foundational and stable. That's a scary thing. We should all be nervous about that. Even if everything goes well in the short term, making things less stable is just inherently a bad fucking deal when it comes to our economic and monetary policy.
It feels like this is one of the places where Trump can't just control it, and it makes him furious.
Yeah.
It makes him so mad that he can't just say, do this thing. And they say, no, I'm not going to do that. What are you talking about? I don't know how to do that. And there's, like you suggest, built-in safeguards that make it so it's not like this partisan thing. It's this it's a bipartisan thing, and somebody put somebody in, and then, Trump is the guy who put in Powell, for crying out loud.
Yeah, and he fucking now hates him.
So there is I think, a control thing happening here that Trump can't control, and it makes him furious that that's the case. And he gets really upset. He's brought a bunch of different cases, tried to throw people out, tried to fire people. Those people are now suing him. It's a totally new fucking situation to be in, where somebody is such a, the problem is that they keep on sort of allowing Trump to have his whim over and over and over again. I feel like it's Trump's world and we're just living in it. It's so crazy to me. It's like this is the guy who everybody has to now follow. Everything he wants, he gets. Every single thing he asks for, he gets. And we just get it. We're the ones who get to eat it. If he tanks the market, before an election. He could really screw us over. One of the things that I saw him this week, I don't know if you saw this, but he was saying, like, because the tariffs are bringing in so much money, he wants to give out dividends. And you're like, dude, that's my money already.
I know.
Like, that's what Bush did when Bush gave away money. It's like, that's your money. Like, you gave him that money. That was, it's not like Bush was like, hey, can you sell one of my fucking sports teams to fucking create a bunch of money that I can give to the American? He didn't do that.
Nope.
He gave you your fucking money back, man.
And you fucking thanked him for it. And I will say, too, it didn't work.
It didn't work.
When George W. Bush did it as a big economic stimulus, it didn't work.
Of course it didn't work, because it was a stupid thing
idea
to do in the first place. But if Trump does any dividend stuff, he's giving your money back. And like you suggested before, that's a regressive tax. Tariffs are regressive. Because the more you buy of things, especially if they're imported, the more you spend. And most people who are rich don't spend a lot of money because they don't already have all the things that they need. So they don't have to go out and buy a bunch of stuff. They don't buy a crappy thing that they have to replace. They have the best built for life stuff you could have.
Right.
So they don't need to replace it. So the money that they're getting back is the poor people who had to pay all those taxes, and the small businesses that they had to pay all. The big businesses already made a deal with them. They brought a fucking big apple for them. They brought them a gold fucking plated apple so they don't have to fucking pay tariffs on their stuff. You as a fucking Etsy seller, you don't get an opportunity to do that. So if you import your shit, guess what? Sorry, too fucking bad. The money you got to spend is put your stuff up way too far. It's put it out of reach for these people. Grocery prices are through the roof. Do you think that money's going to go? You're paying that money now. It's going to come back to you. That's not a benefit. It's not like that's good. That's bad for you. That's bad for the economy.
And I don't think he's going to give you the dividend.
And I don't think he's giving it either.
Don't hold your fucking breath for the checks. And I'll also say this: if you get a check and you were one of the people on the right who were screaming about all of the money that we gave out during COVID. And how if we just put all this money into the economy, it's going to raise inflation. The reason we have inflation is because we spent all this money, giving people a way to not die and starve to death during COVID. If you were one of those jack-offs, how is this functionally different?
Yeah, it's not different at all.
It's not different.
It's not different. You're just a liar.
I'm really nervous, Cecil, that in September, which is a minute from now, in September, Powell is, I think, going to reduce interest rates. And I think he's going to reduce. I am worried, I should say, that he's going to reduce interest rates at a time when inflation is growing. And I think, one thing I want to talk real briefly about is the deep state. The woman who's on the Fed, the woman who's on the Fed that Trump is trying to get rid of so he can replace her is a woman named Lisa Cook. Lisa Cook is being accused of mortgage fraud. The mortgage fraud specifically she's being accused of is filing, we talked about this before, filing for 2 mortgages as primary residences. The way that they know that she did that is because the guy who runs the Federal Housing Finance Agency, the FHFA, is a guy named Bill Pulte, a Trump appointee and a Trump surrogate. And he has access to everybody's fucking mortgage application that was FHFA insured, which is essentially every mortgage application outside of private lending or semi-private lending through hedge funds or private equity. The vast, over 90%, right? Sure. So it doesn't matter.
A lot of people.
So they literally just looked into, This is deep state shit. Hey, we want to look at all the people that are on the Fed chair and see where we can exert some power. Let's do an investigation of everybody.
Sure.
Let's pull her mortgage application. Oh, we found this error here. We're going to use this as an excuse to fire this person. That's the deep state.
Yeah.
That literally is a partisan loyalist leveraging a specific and unrelated power to intrusively investigate somebody for political gain. That's the fucking deep state. These guys are worried. That's it. What else could the deep state be? What else are you worried about? They could do that to you.
Yeah.
You think they can't pull your fucking taxes? They've got everything.
Yeah.
They've got your mortgage application. Look at a mortgage application. It's everything but your fucking blood type. It's fucking scary shit, man.
Yeah, you knew that they were gonna go through all these things with a fine-tooth comb, though, and try to attack and hurt every single person that they could, because Trump is vindictive and he's shitty and he's a child.
Yep.
See this picture with all the fingerprints on it? I want you to find out who the guy is sitting next to Sykes. Find out his name, his age, his weight, his social security number, his location, relatives, pets, everything.
This story's from NPR. Whistleblower says Trump officials copied millions of social security numbers.
Well, you were just saying they have access to a bunch of stuff. Well, they have access to this too. And then they I don't know. I think fucking Elon snorted him while he was in there. He cut him up with his own social security card and fucking snorted him.
Ugh, this is so gross.
Yeah.
This is just Project 2025.
Yeah.
It just is. This is the creation of a deep state. This is the creation of administrative overreach. This is the weaponizing of your personal information. We should, as people who are on the left, as voices, I think this is something to be worried about.
Yeah.
You know, like I have thought about you and I've thought maybe you and I need to have a lawyer on retainer in order to keep doing this show.
Sure.
Because will we be singled out for things like punitive audits? I don't know. Would I be shocked? No.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't be shocked. I would be shocked if bigger people than us were, I think we're small enough potatoes that we'll probably get away with it. But the point is the same. Do I think that the big fish are going to be singled out? Do I think that all of a sudden, would I be shocked if Rachel Maddow got fucking audited by the IRS every year for the next 4 years? No. 100%. I would be surprised if she were not.
100%. Yeah. And then, all the other governmental administrative stuff that person would have to go through, their imagine red tape on every bit of it. There's no reason why they shouldn't think
They can make your life miserable.
Yeah.
They can absolutely make your life a living hell.
Well, and look at if we're going to talk about Social Security, look at what they did initially when they first came in, where they started to close those regional offices. Yeah. They said, we're going to close these regional offices, and then you had to call, and the wait lines were in the hours worth of time in order to call. They closed these little offices all over the place because they were like, oh, those aren't worth anything. And they saw this massive uproar because people were like, what the fuck, man? I can't even, it's already a shitty system, and now I gotta either drive 6 hours to get to an actual center, or I gotta sit 6 hours on a phone waiting for somebody to actually fix my problem, and they might not even fix it. This is how they can make your life shitty. We talked about it with closing polling centers. There's all these ways that they can make your life inconvenient. They can fill your streets up with National Guard people.
Yeah.
That's a thing that they can do to make your life inconvenient.
The other thing they can do with these Social Security numbers is leak them.
Yes.
Because there's no accountability, right? So when they do stupid shit, we've already seen them do it, actually. They've already done this. They have released documents that had unredacted personal information.
Yeah.
It is, if I were a deep state official and I would, who are the people that are fucking bothering me? And cool, I'm going to make sure to release their personal private information.
Yeah, man, because that'll fuck you up. Yeah.
Now you're going to have to spend some of your time not criticizing me, but trying to steal back your identity from a bunch of fucking asshole hackers.
That's easy to do, too.
It's
so easy to do. Just work your way straight through it. But yeah, this is why these types of things are important to safeguard. Now, according to the people at the Social Security system, they say that these numbers never left or whatever. Right. They were always still here. But I don't know that I believe anything. And that's the other real problem is that there's just this culture of lying that makes everything you say, anything you say, something I don't want to believe. Even if it is perfectly verifiable.
Right. I think we would be foolish to say, well, who told us that? Oh, a guy who is working for the government?
Yeah. Some dude who's working for the government.
Neat.
I don't know. Because I'll tell you what, they sure did flush out anybody who wasn't loyal.
Right. If you're still here, doesn't that mean you passed some kind of loyalty test?
Yeah.
Doesn't that mean I should be at least a little suspicious?
Still waiting on that heifer, Julio. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.
New York Times, prosecutors failed to obtain indictment against man who threw sandwich at federal agents.
He fucking whipped that sandwich at him.
A foot long, dude.
He fucking threw that fucking thing right in that guy's chest. He fucking bulleted that thing from a foot away. It's fucking, the video of it is amazing, but he gets up in their face, calls them fascists, says you should leave, and he fucking whips the thing right in their face, and then he runs away, and he got away. He got away. They couldn't even catch him.
I love it.
And then they found out who he was, and they tried to charge him 3 times. I think it was 3 times they tried to bring him up under indictment. And each time, every time they were the ones, they basically stack the deck when they bring these indictments. They can show whatever evidence they want. And they showed it, and everybody's like, yeah, it's not a felony. It's a fucking sandwich. It's not a gun. It's a fucking hero sandwich.
It's a sweet chicken and teriyaki. Yeah, like this is not like this is not a great assault on.
It's not anything.
Yeah, I mean,
it did maybe have assault, but it's certainly not an assault. Yeah, but genuinely, like they just like the dude just chucked a sandwich at him. That's not a fucking felony, man.
No,
that's not a felony.
No, like these are fucking military troops. I think they can handle a fucking hoagie.
Yeah, like you get hit in the chest with a sandwich and you're like, it feels like it's not even as powerful as a punch. It's not even as powerful as that.
It's heroes for heroes.
But it's not even, it doesn't even hurt that much.
No.
It's like, it's nothing. Yeah. It's like, you could throw, it's like throwing a fucking bunch of wadded leaves in someone's face.
It's a squirt gun, man.
Yeah, it's nothing.
It's a squirt gun. It's not even a squirt gun because a squirt gun might be confused with a gun.
Yeah.
It's not even spit, right? Because spit is like a biological contaminant. And I do actually think like there's problems with fucking spitting on people. It's a goddamn sandwich, man. It's a waste of a sandwich. It's a Subway sandwich. This is the best use of a Subway sandwich.
Was it a Subway sandwich?
I believe it was, yeah.
Right, yeah.
This is the best use of a Subway sandwich.
Absolutely, yeah.
You don't want to eat it.
You do whatever you can. I mean, you could probably put it under that glass and it'll be fine in a week or whatever like that. You ever see that when they take the sandwiches and they put them under glass? They'll take
they're so full of salt they don't cook.
They don't do anything. They're just like they did. I think I saw a picture of Iceland's last, because they don't have a McDonald's there. They had the last McDonald's burger that was served there. They put it under glass with like the fries, and it still looks pretty good.
Yeah, well, like, and people get like, they're like, oh my God, it's so full of like poisons. Or it's like, no, it's full of salt.
Yeah.
Salt has been preserving food for tens of thousands of years.
It's also under glass. Like the other thing you have to remember too is that unless it had something in there beforehand to like make your little bioculture, it doesn't have anything in it. So it's just sitting there, just nothing's going to happen. It'll eventually just dry out. That's essentially, it just dries.
And like a dry, salty environment is not a good environment for visible contaminants.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you should fucking grab it and eat it.
No, you definitely don't want to do that.
Like Jesus Christ.
Although how different is that from a regular McDonald's sandwich?
What do you get at Mc? Do you like McDonald's at all?
I don't go to McDonald's anymore after they put Trump there to give away fries.
Yeah.
I've never been back since, and I won't go back.
Yeah.
Last time I went, I got a Big Mac. Big Mac was the thing I always got.
I did like the Big Mac. I did. It was a fine sandwich.
Yeah, I make them on my own now, and I'm perfectly happy doing that.
It's homemade Big Mac. I bet it's fucking killer.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's delicious. I love it. I make a smash burger with it. So I'll do a smash burger.
Yeah.
2 smash burgers with cheese, and then I will dice my onion real fine. It's fresh onion instead of dehydrated, so it tastes a little better.
Yeah.
And then I make my own sauce, and then the shredded lettuce. And I don't do 3 buns.
I was going to say, most important question, do you do the middle bun?
No, it's like, that's extra. I don't need that.
I don't do
I don't need it. So I just make I make a nice double cheeseburger. That's like in the style of a Big Mac. It works out great. Finely diced onion on that is really outstanding. The onion that they use is dehydrated, so it's not as good. At least that's what they used to use. I have no idea what they use now, or even what they've used for the last 10 years. I couldn't tell you. But yeah, genuinely, it was like a dehydrated onion. I used to work at McDonald's years ago. One of the things that I got fired from McDonald's, well, I didn't get fired. I got yelled at multiple times because there was an old guy who worked in the front, and I worked the breakfast shift on the weekends. I worked both days on the weekends, early morning. And it would be early morning and I'd be washing dishes. And I wasn't one of the guys who worked up front. I was one of the people who worked in back. I was a dishwasher, essentially. I'd clean and I was the dishwasher. So I was the dishwasher and cleaning and stuff. And the old guy who worked up front, when it turned 10 o'clock, they took the cinnamon rolls off the line and they brought them back. And he would set the pan there with the cinnamon rolls in it. And he's like, those are just going to go to waste. He's like, you might as well eat one. And so I would eat them. I'd be like, fuck, I'm hungry. Man, I'm a kid. And I remember this lady got so mad at me for eating them. She was my manager and she came back. She saw me. She's like, don't you ever eat any food ever again unless you're on break. And I was just like, I'm not touching anything to give anybody food. I'm washing dishes. And I was just like, but you could tell like there's like a whole corporate thing to
Jesus Christ
get mad. And I walked out on her shift a week later because my friend we both had long hair and I used to be able to put mine up in my hat.
Right.
And he got told to put his up in his hat. Well, he had thicker hair than me and he couldn't fit it up there. So it used to go down to the back of his shirt. So he used to tuck his hair behind his shirt.
Yeah, okay.
And it would just go
solution.
in. It was a good solution. But he's like, it's tucked. He's like, it's fine. They're like, no, you got to put it up in your hat. And he's like, it doesn't fit up there. It's like, well, then you could just go home. He's like, well, fine, I quit then. And he just threw his fucking hat at the guy. And he starts walking out. And he walks over to me. He's like, hey, man, I quit. And I was like, cool, I quit too. And I want to tell him. I was like, yeah, I quit as well.
Yeah, fuck it.
I was like, fuck it. If you're going to yell at me for eating a fucking cinnamon roll you were literally going to throw away because what they don't want is to create a culture of you eating food that they create, right?
Yeah, they don't want you eating on not on. Exactly. They don't want to pay you to eat their food, right? And sneak food.
Yeah, they don't want to do.
They
don't want to do that. So they're like, there's hard rules and they yell at you and whatever. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm like, I'll go wash cars at the dealership down the road, which is what I did afterwards.
Let's just stop being human.
I'm like, that's fine.
It's great.
Yeah, but I remember that I didn't work at McDonald's for long, but I'll tell you, I didn't enjoy any moment of it.
Fuck that noise, man. Fuck that. That's how Boston Market was. Like, yeah, there'd be all this food, especially like their cornbread or whatever, would time out. So after it's out, it's under the heat lamps. After a certain amount of time,
a certain amount of time,
it's got to go back. Right? And so they bring it back. I worked in the back, and I would eat it. And I remember they were like, "You can't eat any of this food." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna do that anyway." I was like, "I am not." Like, that's like nothing.
Yeah. And I also understand like food that's been out, you got to throw it away at a certain point. I understand.
I'm not eating the fucking macaroni or whatever. But it's a piece of fucking cornbread.
It's fucking cornbread. I get I understand, but at the same time, it's like, okay, this is cornbread.
Yeah. I'd be like, yeah, I'm just not going to say anything. That's stupid.
Do you think that they're going to prosecute this sandwich guy?
They're going to try.
Yeah, I think they'll get him on a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
I think they will have to get him on a misdemeanor, but I love that 3 times they tried to bring a fucking felony suit and each time they're like, no, we're not going to do it.
Because you're going to go in front of a jury and someone's going to be like, that's sandwich. And you'd be like, get the fuck out of here. You made me come to jury duty for a fucking sandwich.
Could you imagine how fucking angry you'd be if that was like, I would be so mad at just the very premise. I would be like, I would try to get on that jury so I could be like, yeah, this is I'm never going to fucking convict this guy.
Awesome.
I don't care what he did. I don't care if he fucked the sandwich before he threw it at you. I will never convict this guy. 100% never convict him. Have you ever been on a jury duty?
I've never, no.
I always wanted to do it. I've never been on it.
I want to do it too. I've gotten summoned more than once, but I've never been on a jury.
I've been in the room but I've never actually been interviewed. So I've been in that big waiting room 3 times. And in Cook County too, which is a lot of people come in and out, but I've been in that room 3 times. And I've never once had a moment where I was...
oh, man.
Yeah. There was one time I was actually really glad because I was just starting as a professor teaching.
Mm-hmm.
It was my first ever class of my own. And I got called 3 days before.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, fuck, if I go... And then they call me, but I'm like, I gotta go. I'm like, I don't know how to get out of it or whatever. But my first thought was like, if they say this, I'm just gonna say the craziest shit when they fucking ask me a question. I'm just gonna say the nuttiest shit so they throw me off it. But I didn't even make it into the back room. I've never actually been interviewed. I've never had a person ask me a question to see if I could be on that jury.
I've always wanted to be on a jury.
I've always wanted it too. I think I'll probably die and never have it.
I don't think I'll ever
You and I
will get weeded out.
I don't think I'll ever do it, but I would love to do it. I would love to be part of that process, especially on a sandwich case.
Thing is, like,
I know a lot about sandwiches.
Dude,
there's
real.
no way you're going to, like, they could call me from the jury to be the expert on the sandwich.
I feel like I walk around as one of the 12 angry men. I'm built for this.
Absolutely.
I am built for this. If I'm going to try to be the foreman if I get put on jury. I'm be like, I am the foreman.
100%. I'll be like, no, we're going to stick fight for it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Break him up. Break him up.
Let's do it.
Break him up. Here we go. I'll just be like, let's arm wrestle.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Solve everything this way.
Poor little Tom. Tom is going to crush everybody. Tom is going to crush. There's like one woman that was like, you're fighting.
Yeah, right. She fucking throws me.
She's going to throw you. Like, she turns her cat around and then it's over.
It's like a switch.
It's like a switch. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week. We'll be back on Monday with a full show, but we're going to leave you like we always do with the Skeptic's Creed.
Credulity is not a virtue. It's fortune cookie cutter